cool beans. Let us make sure that we are going live for the award show live now. Alright, cool. We are indeed live. I'll give people a couple minutes to start making their way into the stream. For some reason, my Twitch Prime has stopped. It's time to extend that. It's time to give myself more free money. Was I gonna dress up all dapper for match? Of course. I always come prepared. I'm like the NBA players walk into the arena, got the 3-piece suit on. That was me walking in the locker room ready for a game, but unfortunately it got rescheduled. There we go. More free money for me. It's gonna give people about 3 or so minutes to come on in, so I got about a minute left. Everybody joining up already, thank you so much for joining us. This is, of course, the Overwatch Clash Season 11 award show. A little bit late, unfortunately, due to vacations and whatnot, but we're finally here just in time before our next season starts next week. This is a Season 10 award show, by the way. I had this incorrect. Let's go ahead and use our exclamation point title to change this real quick, because I have Season 11 on the mind, but we gotta deal with Season 10 first, don't we? There we go. I just copy and pasted the same exact goddamn title. I swear I am. I'm drained, chat. I'm drained. There. MVP for Season 11. That was Season 1 of Overwatch League, which was about the same time as the dinosaurs. That's when I got my MVP. It's been a while. It has indeed been a while. 3-year mod anniversary. Holy crap. This guy might just be the chat moderator. Alright, we got 30 people in here. I think it's probably good enough to go ahead and get started with our first award, which is going to be the Hold Up Let 'Em Cook award, which, if you're new around here, the Hold Let 'Em Cook award is just something that's like, wow, that was a really cool idea or a really good draft strategy. So it's got ourselves 4 nominations for this one. The Kiangs and their power of friendship. At the draft, we had some questions coming out of that, like, is this full stout, basically, roster going to make it work? And they had themselves a fairly solid season. They were competitive in a lot of their matches, and was kind of cool to see it all come together. Next one's going to be the Firebenders and the Strategies versus the Plus Ultra Penguins, almost upsetting our eventual champions as the lowest seed in the tournament, taking them all the way to map 5 with some new looks for the Firebenders. And then, yeah, the Grizzlies and the Johto Giants and their trades at the beginning of the season is certainly going to be up there. And then the Astronauts coming up with this the new Reaper look in the playoffs, looking very solid, getting a big upset win the round 1 and making it close in the next one. So, yeah, we're going to go and get ourselves a winner for the Hold Up Let 'Em Cook award, which for this season is going to be the Firebenders, the Strats versus the Pulse Ultra Penguins. That was one of the funnest games I've seen in a long time. It was a real nail-biter all the way to the end. And, given the context of the Penguins being our eventual champions just a couple weeks after this match, with how the Firebenders kept them that close, it was a fun game to watch. So, yeah, shout out to the Firebenders, shout out to that scouting sheet, and all the cooking that accomplished. So our next award is going to be the Ghostbuster Award, which is always an interesting one to give out here. So, of course, you're also new around here. Ghostbuster is something that just disappeared into the ether. Will never be seen again. Number one nomination, of course, got to be the Pyro's logo. We never got one. So, shout out to this sun.png or whatever the hell I have here for him. That's going to be that forever now. BOON1E ESPN Season 3 did a bit of a Ghostbuster. Didn't come back. And then the Cadavers Zero Wins Theory. Coming out of the first stage, coming out of the first power rankings, we were thinking this team might not win a game. Some of us argued, let alone a map. And they still got themselves a fairly solid multi-win season. So that the Zero Wins Theory kind of got blown away in the wind. And then, the Skystorm and Anarchy duo, which was extremely hyped up in the preseason. Everybody's thinking, like, oh my god, is this the best team ever assembled? Jamal Theory coming up huge. And, that eventually did not work at all. So, our winner for the Ghostbuster. Press the wrong button. Cadavers, Zero Wins Theory. When the Cadavers came in, I thought this team might win a game. But, the fact they came back, had a lot of good solid victories, a couple close matches as well towards the end, looking good in scrims. Hey, you know what? You gotta give them a shout out. They definitely destroyed the Zero Win Theory for sure. So I think that the shout out to the Cadavers for that one. Our next one is going to be the Biggest Beef Award, which is, of course, the people who had the most beef, most anger between them. Got ourselves some good nominations this season. Let's go and take a look at them. Got the Pulse Water Penguins, Roma Coon Dogs, and Shibuya Specters, always in that top three, always battling out, always fighting it out. I got the HVSec TC War Friend Group as well down here. Throw Panini in there on top of that. Just a real big beef between that friend group the entire season. There's some fisticuffs thrown in general chat and whatnot. I also have Andrew versus June, constantly asking June to get sick so they could ring for the Shibuya Specters. We've never had anybody wish ill upon a player before, but Andrew was setting a new low almost of general chat interactions. And then, of course, got thrown the on-round lovers versus the on-round haters. It's when you have like a lovers and a haters type beat, you got to include the Biggest Beef. But the winner for the Biggest Beef, it's going to be that top three group of the Pangolins, Dogs, and Specters. Because, every game these guys had seemed to go to, 5 towards the end of the season. Early in the season, Specters come in, get trounced, or they trounce the Dogs. Dogs come back later in the season, beat them. Penguins lose to the Specters. And then they come back and meet in the playoffs. So, I think that the storyline of these three teams of the entire season is always fun to watch, always interesting. So, I definitely think they got some beef between them. You ask anybody on those teams, they're always talking about how they're going to beat each other in their team chats, because I have privy to that. So, I know that the beef was not only just maintained in public spaces. These guys are talking smack behind backs. They were in the fight clubs. They were doing everything they possibly could to beat each other. But, very cool. The next little award here is going to be the I'm So Excited Award. This is just for me personally to say, like, I'm excited for this next season. I'm excited for this in terms of the entire esports brand. And, of course, it's tough to not give it to the Legacy series, our new sort of offshoot of Overwatch. Should be an interesting look. But, hey, why not be excited for AEL that's coming up in just a couple weeks here. Our draft for Overwatch is scheduled to happen next Monday, and then our Pokemon draft will happen the weekend after, and then Legacy Series is scheduled for the weekend after that, so we got 3 straight weeks here of Aurora draft action, so should be exciting. But yeah, ALS, hard to not be excited for a new league, have at least a little bit of hype. Now, the next award is going to be the best meme. Does not require much explanation. We were pretty dry on memes this year, chat. I'm not gonna lie. We didn't have any bangers like last year, but, we will go ahead and give ourselves a chance with these 4 nominations. We do, of course, have to include the Season of Giving Up for Shoreline Pie. Ethical Hippo comes on in. The Gulag and the Crystal making a fierce comeback. And then the Swifters Deaths Per 10 posts after every match. Swifters being very proud of their high stat. So the best meme is gonna go to the Gulag and the Crystal. Ethical Hippo had a great chance, but unfortunately, it is too closely tied to AI Garbage, therefore basically eliminating it from the competition. Though it was fighting back against the AI Overlords, still has that association with it. I just couldn't quite get over the finish line. And the Gulag always has a special place in my heart. Putting people in the Crystal, always a good time. Cool. The next one is going to be the Biggest Banger Award, which goes to our best match of the season. We've had a couple of seasons in a row where it's just the grand finals because we've gone like 7 or 8 maps, but this time the grand finals not so close. We've got to actually dig in a little bit and think what were those standout matches. So we do have a lot of playoff games here, a lot of recency bias, but it's just because of the story, just because of the power and veracity behind these matches. We do have the Astronauts getting a big upset over our number 3 seed, the Mariachi in the round 1 of the playoffs. The Pangolins and Spectres, round 3 in the playoffs going all the way to 5. And then the round 16 upset alert going all the way to 5 with the Penguins and the Firebenders. And then for me, the only regular season game here is the Goats beating the Spectres and making that statement, putting themselves in that top 4 conversation, which was a fairly interesting game. But yeah, they make a statement, go through here to play. And that was kind of the first match I think people start taking that team really seriously. But our Biggest Banger Award, I gotta get to the big upset in the playoffs. It's tough being the receiving end of this one, but the Astronauts came in, down players, had ringers, had new strategies, and it's probably the best we saw the Astronauts play all season. So I think I give that team a shout out for making a big upset in the playoffs happen. Always fun when a bracket gets destroyed. So yeah, shout out to them. They lost the Reaper Theory a couple of awards ago, so I got to give them here. W ringers, yeah, ringer theory, sure. But then we also noticed that next game that Foliage had like a 60 bomb in King's Row on Reaper, so lol W. Okay, Biggest Banger has officially been awards. Now we go on to our Best Duo Awards. This is 2 players that are closely tied together. Could be on a team, could be not be on a team, but always together in their own hearts. But gotta give it to Sayari being one of the nominees here on the team. They got the power rankings, power behind them. Ying and Slice of Bread bringing it back from the Pulse Ultra, or from the Puffles the season before. Nathan and Yak, always a strong combination. Then the SLP Neptune champion duo. It's coming home. Unfortunately, it's not coming home. It's going to Ying and Sliced Bread. I think just that synergy they built up and bragging it over here for another solid showing on the St. Maurice Marmots was a cool storyline. So, and they just work well together in terms of the hero pools. Unfortunately, Sayari is not coming home, but maybe next year. And now we got ourselves the PMA Peter / Patricia Award. This, of course, goes to the player who had a good... No, unfortunately, Coleslaw, not Neptune and you. But this is the PMA Peter / Patricia. Goes to the player with the best positive mental mindset. Slade coming in here. Luxale. Centurion. He didn't play, but he needs a nomination. There's no way you don't nominate Centurion in the award show for PMA Peter. And Peepaw. So our Centurion or Riot. Unfortunately, Cent will have to wait yet another season. But it's gonna oh, I pressed the wrong button. Peepaw. Yeah, I think that when you're on a team that's doing as let's just say as well as the Giants were, and able to keep that positive mindset on those streams, in the general chats and whatnot, always hanging out in the chats, in the streams. So yeah, Peepaw brought a good mindset to that team, fought through the struggles, and came out. Where is Charb? You had to make room for Centurion. You can't possibly include Charbitron. You gotta make room for Centurion. Centurion's gotta come in here. Alright, well, anyway. PMA Peter Patricia is done. Now we're going to go ahead and go over to the Shapeshifter Award, which is a sort of a mixed bag of someone who performed well on off role, and then somebody who did well across multiple roles in the season. So there are a few people on this list to shout out. You had Greg, who was a hit scam player coming in playing tank, showed a new look. Corey played, I don't know if he played support in a match, but played mostly an off-role the entire season. Dr. Jargo coming in off of the most of Zarya tank-style gameplay the seasons before. And Luau coming in looking good on DPS, and especially that Malga pick for the Thunder Chickens, making it a very scary team to face towards the end. But yeah, that being said, there can only be one shapeshifter. I'm going to go ahead and give it to Dr. Jargo. What I saw from the Kiang's game is that Jargo always played well across multiple DPS looks, which is not what I expected from Jargo coming in, because Jargo played a lot of that tank previously. So I think showing up and showing big on the DPS role. Shoreline Pie, unfortunately, your 2 highest are in all roles. I don't consider you a shapeshifter at all. I know you played all 3 roles, but same with no, Neptune only played 2. I don't think Neptune ever played support. Yeah, too bad, Shoreline Pie. Try being lower next time. Maybe I'll respect you. Well, shapeshifter's done. We're going to move on to our Most Improved Player Award. Got a couple of great shout-outs here. We have Fish on the tank, which, Fish has always been a very solid player. Is a champion in the past on the Slouchers, but I think this season, Fish on their Ramatra, on that Orisa, put the team on his back for a lot of the season, looking strong. Always dropping like 50 bombs with 20k damage and 3 deaths. Looking great. Adam, showing a lot of flexibility over on towards that support role, especially on that Mizuki in the playoffs. It's recently biased, but it was looking pretty nice. It was winning them some maps almost single-handedly, especially against the Rome Raccoon Dogs. They would have shut down that dive so well. Para, Para's always kind of been just like that. Yep, they're John Hitscan. But this season, Para was a very strong part of that Pangolins kind of core with Yak and Nathan. And Odin, coming in after struggling on that Moon Baboons roster, was looking very solid in the DPS. So good 4 people shout here for Most Improved, but there can only be 1, and it's going to be Adam. I mean, I think that Adam, especially towards the end of the season, was so improved from even where they began in the start of the season, even compared to previous ones. I think that just Adam throughout the entire year was looking so good. And yeah, the Mizuki at the end was very impressive, and my recency bias got the better of me, and I had to go ahead and give it to Adam. So, with most Improved given out, let's go ahead and move over to Mr. Irrelevant, Mr./Mrs. Irrelevant, as we got a lot of solid names here. Got Coleslaw coming in at pick number 100. Zafton, I believe, was pick 97, was something like that, really towards the bottom. D Blank was in the late 80s, early 90s, and Bacon was also sort of in that lower than 20 area. So I think all these players looked very good for where they were picked, especially for some of them for their SR. But yeah, there can only be, one truly Mr. Irrelevant, and that's got to be Coleslaw. We saw Coleslaw, of course, still had that signature Junkrat on the couple of maps where it worked, but also showed up on the Emery, showed up the Cassidy, and Bastion Venture still in their kind of hero pool, so really expanding that hero pool, not being just the junk guy. And next season, I don't think that the Schla should go at the last pick, but that's just me. I'm not a captain. Next is going to be the Commissioner's Award, which is just somebody who I feel should get some shout-outs and recognition. Where is Java? I'm guessing he's in the bed in the other room. I don't see him anywhere. Yeah, for this season's Commissioner Award, I went ahead and gave it to Fish. Because not only did Fish just play super well his entire season, it was very impressive to watch, and I really enjoyed watching the Stellar Tank gameplay, but also just that stepping up, becoming the head admin for Aurora Esports Legacy Series. Fish was the one who initially gave the idea, gave me the pitch, and kind of took the initiative to making that league happen. You know, I've already gave the I'm So Excited award to Legacy Series, so why not give Commissioner's Award to Fish for giving us the idea, giving us the starting point. And we've been working together a lot behind the scenes for this. And, you know, Fish also stepping up and casting a couple games in the Power Rankings chat, so we're taking charge on that too. So Fish stepped up this season, and will continue to step up for the Legacy Series. Okay, so now we're sort of into the big awards, if you want to call them that, after Commissioner's Award. Our first one is going to be the Best Caster. A lot of good shots this season. You had Greg, who did a lot of the producing, a lot of the casting on top of that as well. Mistletoe, especially early in the season, was almost controlling the entire production chat by themselves, along with Gumpy for the Canadian Cadavers, that duo there. Looking so good. And then Paradox towards later in the season, taking a couple games playoffs to the show match to the desk. So yeah, good bit of casting here. But yeah, the best caster for this season is going to be Mistletoe. Mistletoe stepping up a lot, taking a lot of games, doing a lot of the solo prodding on top of their own channels too, towards the start of the season when we were all kind of getting our bearings. So yeah, Mistletoe takes home the best caster. And now we got to go ahead and give ourselves the Best Producer Award, which very similar names here, but these are basically the 4 people who did any games this entire year. And yeah, for Best Producer, I'm not even gonna waste my time. It was Greg. Greg taking a lot of responsibility this season on the production side, taking a lot of games, making sure matches got scheduled and talked about. Especially now going into next season. Taking on the prod head role, so they'll be in charge of coordinating between 3 different leagues with Pokemon, ALS, and Overwatch Clash. So yeah, Greg has got a lot of work ahead of them, and hopefully they can continue. Deadlock tournament's only for a couple weeks, but yeah, Deadlock tournament too. Cool. So our next one, we got the big 3 coming up here. The first one is going to be the Best Captain Award. A lot of very deserving people this season. I got Strudel for the Gouda Goats, Slade for the Spectres, TC for the Pangolins, and then Dave for the Mariachis. It was a very, very close race between all of these, but my thought process, we can go ahead and give ourselves out the award. It is going to be Strudel. I do think that all 4 of these deserved the win for sure. But it kind of came down to Strudel took these the 2 rookies, the Bacon Bucklew, made them work going back and forth as well, making people got playtime on the roles they wanted. And just all around being good in terms of scheduling, good in terms of results. And Strudel's been doing it for a long time too, and I think just deserves recognition of always kind of stepping up to play, being a captain, and always performing well. So I think that Strudel, it's a long overdue recognition, and it came at a good time that the team did well around you. So a big congratulations, and again, all 4 were very deserving. It was a very tight race. Rookie of the Year. Had a couple of good rookies coming in here. Altair for Room Raccoon Dog, Star DPS, Dabmaster 66, Star Everything for the Canadian Cadavers. Carson playing as well for the Voidlings, was a standout player on that tank. And then Keysmon Swag for the Joda Giants. Even though the team didn't find much success, Keysmon Swag's flexibility and individual performance earned them a nomination for this role. But it is tough to not, the 0 win theory was bad enough, but yeah, then just able to finally break through at the end, making it work on multiple roles. Dabmaster 66 is going to be the Rookie of the Year. It's tough to watch anybody else. All these players were deserving, but I think just Dab's flexibility and overall presence on that squadron, sort of being the almost solo star for a while, definitely made a standout performance. Cool. Tabmaster is winning Rookie of the Year next season. Let's go, baby. Bringing it back. Now on to the big one, our MVP. These are your top 4 vote getters. We had a tie. Of course, as many of you know, about partway through the season, we had ourselves a tie. And it was these 4 people that were up for the tie. I might have told some people like, oh, we're only 1 vote away in terms of breaking it. But once I kind of put it out there that we needed more votes for people, this person shot up the ranks and ended up winning by multiple votes. So drum roll or something, because the MVP for Aurora Esports Overwatch Clash Season 10. Wrong button. Charbotron ended up taking home the dub in the voting category by multiple votes. So yeah, got some low SR representation, got some support representation, all wrapped up into one. So yeah, a big congratulations to Charbotron. She's been here for a while. I believe she holds the record for most match MVPs as well, so we might have to start putting Charbotron in the GOAT discussion. We might have to start putting her up in the GOAT discussion after this MVP. Deserving for seasons. Definitely agree on that one. So yeah, that's all our awards for this season. Again, thank you everybody so much for participating in Aurora Overwatch Clash Season 10. We will see a lot of you in Season 11. If we don't, hope to see you again soon. But hold on, let me. Hey, no need to look at that anymore. You can look at my messy humidity hair instead. But yeah, again, thank you everybody for playing last season. Hopefully you had a good time, and we will see everybody next week at 7 p.m. CST on Monday, July 13th for the draft for Season 11. We're hoping to get the team reveal on that Sunday before, so should be pretty awesome. Can we get an overview of AELS? We are planning on making an introductory video for that, but I can go ahead and give a quick explanation for AELS. So, Aurora Esports Legacy Series is going to be very similar, but also very different compared to Aurora Overwatch Clash. It will be an auction-based draft system. There will be 8 teams that are franchises, so those teams will stick around over multiple seasons. Captains will, of course, bet for players for the Season 1 roster, but in the off-season, teams have the options of keeping a couple of players for their SR cap, plus a little extra money on top of it, so you can truly build team synergy. You can play with the same people for multiple seasons in a row. There will be, of course, as well, free agency. If players get dropped, they can kind of decide where they want to go or fall back in the auction pool. There'll be a Swiss stage format with a modified double elim bracket for playoffs. So it'll be a little more on the competitive side compared to Overwatch Clash. But yeah, if you are interested, you can of course sign up. Signing up does not guarantee you're going to get drafted. But we are of course looking to get as big a pool as we can to make the draft interesting. So if you're still on the fence, you can reach out to either me or Fish, and we will of course have that sort of introductory video coming out shortly. Hopefully, kind of this weekend would be the goal, but who knows? We shall see. But yeah, I guess with that being said, I've reached my what am I trying to think here? I've gone to my government mandated 30 minutes, so I can no longer stall. Again, thanks everybody for playing. Congrats to all of our award winners, and we'll see you guys at the draft next week. Stay safe, stay healthy, have a great rest of everybody. See ya. Bye. Bye. I pressed one button. Bye.